the government, wants these metals to be taken out of the ground to go green, and the mining sector says, well, screw it. So what happens? Metal supplies dwindle. That's why you've seen silver supply in the mining sector be flat. It's been between 800 and 830 million ounces a year for the last 10 years, and it's not going up. There's no big silver mines coming on stream, and who's going to make the investment? There are silver mines around the world, which we know of, that are low grade, that have substantial ounces in them, but it's going to require $100 silver for those ounces to come out of the ground.
At the beginning of the year, the CEOs of 19 mining companies wrote a letter to the Canadian Minister of Energy and Natural Resources, Jonathan Wilkinson, urging that silver be considered a critical mineral, as doing so would position the country as a supplier of choice for strategic allies. The executives also sent written questions about the methodology adopted by the US Geological Survey to a House of Representatives subcommittee, expressing concerns about the USGS's methodology for its critical minerals list and offering suggestions for improvement. The executives were particular about silver's omission from the critical metal list, noting that silver has many great qualities that earn it a place on the list, even more than some other metals that made the list. Silver is identified as the best electrical conductor, the best metallic thermal conductor, and the best reflective material, the executives wrote in their letter. These qualities make silver an essential and irreplaceable component for many industrial and technological applications. Researchers from around the globe have raised the alarm that silver is a potential bottleneck in the transition to a low-carbon economy due to supply limitations, disruptions to the supply chain, competition for other uses, and increased demand. In their letter, the executives were able to conveniently establish that silver meets all of the criteria for the list. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, a metal is considered critical if it is a non-fuel mineral, element, substance, or material that the Secretary of Energy determines has a high risk of supply chain disruption, serves an essential function in one or more energy technologies, including technologies that produce, transmit, store, and conserve energy. In a recent interview with Chris Marcus of Arcadia Economics, First Majestic Silver CEO Keith Neumeyer discusses the importance of silver to the ongoing green energy revolution and why it is important for the US government and others to give silver legitimacy by acknowledging it as a critical metal. Neumeyer is fairly convinced that this is bound to happen soon, as he expects silver's supply dynamics to worsen further this year, making the metal scarcer and more valuable. We will present clips from the discussion, but before we do, please take a little time to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications bell for more videos on silver and other precious metals. Thanks for the support, and enjoy the video.
Well, you're dealing with politicians, and that's part of the problem, because they're not engineers, they're not geologists. A politician, will say, hey, we want to go green and we want to bring green energy to the world, and we want to replace fossil fuels or at least supplement fossil fuels with other technologies. And they're now talking about nuclear, which is surprising. That's but previous to that, they were just basically talking about wind power and solar power. But yet on the other side of the equation, they don't want to permit mines. So one of my companies that I'm involved in, it's been 8 years in permitting, and we don't expect a permit for at least another 2 to 3 years. The investment that has to be made on an annual basis is about $20 million. So over a 10-year period, that's $200 million. So a mining company, that's tough. You got to raise that money every single year, and you're at risk to the government. You don't know if you're going to get your permit. So it's all risk money. It's all speculative money. It's hard money to raise, because, the people that are putting money into the mining company know that it's a long game. It's not, they're not going to get a return tomorrow. It might take 10 plus years, 20 years in some cases, to get a return on that money. So it's very tough money to raise. And yet the government, wants these metals to be taken out of the ground to go green, and the mining sector says, well, screw it. So what happens? Metal supplies dwindle. That's why you've seen silver supply in the mining sector be flat. It's been between 800 and 830 million ounces a year for the last 10 years, and it's not going up. There's no big silver mines coming on stream, and who's going to make the investment? There are silver mines around the world, which we know of, that are low grade, that have substantial ounces in them, but it's going to require $100 silver for those ounces to come out of the ground. And even if we hit $100 silver tomorrow, the mining companies still wouldn't make the investment because they would think, oh geez, how long is it going to last? We need $100 silver for the next 30 years in order to pay back our investment that it's going to cost to build this mine. So what executive team is going to bet on $100 silver for 30 years, right? It's never happened before. So it's all just basically risk capital. If the governments would loosen up the controls and say, hey, look, we actually are going to put our mouth behind our, or put our actions behind what we're saying, and we're actually going to let the mining sector bring the metal out of the ground and get it into industry. And then the mining sector might decide, okay, well, we'll work with government, but we need zinc, we need copper, we need silver, we need these critical metals to be extracted. These are extractive industries, and if we expect to accomplish all the things we want to accomplish, the government's got to do joint ventures with the mining sector.
First, Majestic Silver has been at the forefront of efforts to get silver added to the critical metals list in the US and Canada. Earlier this year, Gillian Lenartz, First Majestic Silver's Director of ESG, led efforts to submit written questions about the methodology adopted by the US Geological Survey to a House of Representatives subcommittee, expressing concerns about the USGS's methodology. They also spoke with the Department of Energy about silver's omission, after which the DOE admitted that based on its methodology, silver was not quantitatively assessed. The group was then asked to submit their concerns in writing to the department for review. Last October, the National Mining Association and the Silver Institute also sent a letter to the DOE arguing that the amount of silver in reserves around the world falls short of demand, a major criterion for getting a metal labeled as critical.
I don't understand the politics behind how they choose certain metals over others. I looked at the list when it came out last summer, and this is what really started the whole process. And, for me, I look at silver as a strategic metal. I've been saying I called silver a strategic metal over 10 years ago. And, everything we do, even this interview right now, and, all the wars that have been going on around the world, and, whatever the case may be, everything that we do as a human race requires silver. And if it's not strategic, then what the hell is this strategic? On that list, there's probably 10 metals I've never even heard of. Right? And they're the smallest, metals there are out there. And sure, okay, fine, you could make an argument for it that maybe they're interesting. Whether there's substitution available for some of those metals, I don't know. But there is no substitute for silver. Silver is the most electrically conductive metal. It's the most reflective metal. It's got antibacterial properties to it as well. So it's used in all kinds of applications. And there's nothing that, the solar panel companies have tried to replace silver with other metals using aluminum and others, and they failed doing it because the productivity of the solar panels dropped to a degree where they weren't really worth much. So silver consumption of solar panels today are actually higher than they were 5 years ago as a result of these solar panel companies waking up to the fact that they're producing crappy solar panels, and they had to smarten up and produce a better product, and that required a little bit more silver, and that's what they're doing. So talking about the government's going back to that, we're pushing the U.S. government. They're going to come out with a new list in 2025. We're lobbying them. We hope to see silver show up on that list. Canada just published their list, and lo and behold, politicians did not include silver on that strategic metals list for Canada, which is quite disappointing, despite the fact that we had several meetings with them. We're now continuing that lobby effort. We're not stopping, but unfortunately, that next list is not coming out until. Well, I could probably count the number of institutions that are following this sector on one hand, and it's pretty shocking. If you look at our shareholder base back in 2010, 2011, we had a half a dozen shareholders that own 5% of the company each. And these are the big pension funds in Canada, the big generalist funds in the United States, and they're long gone and they've never shown up again. The big funds that own the mining sector today are really ETFs, GDX, GDXJ, some of these other ETFs that are out there. And it's all passive money. There's no fund manager. The only reason why they own your stock is because of volume, and they adjust their portfolio, generally speaking, on a daily or weekly basis based on your volume, and that's all they care about is how many shares you trade, and then what they and then not only that, they lend the shares out for a fee and they short your stock. So it's a crazy sector, and that's why you look at the GDX and you see what it's trading at compared to 5 years ago. We have 2,400 of gold and $31 silver, and yet these stocks are, last time silver hit $30, First Majestic stock was $30. But we need these tech stocks to crash like we did in 2000. We saw the Nasdaq drop from 5,000 in March of 2000 to 850. 3 years later, 80% fall. So all that money, where did it go? It went into real estate. It went into the resource sector. Went to gold, silver, and that silver went from $5 to $50, and gold went from 240 to 18 something. And that's all going to happen all over again, but you just don't know when that's going to be.
Though we have to wait another 2 years for the next update on critical metals, if mining companies like First Majestic keep putting pressure on decision makers, silver will make the list, and this will contribute to significantly higher prices for the metal. This might even be powerful enough to stop or considerably reduce the suppression and manipulation of prices by commercial banks and other institutional investors in the United States. Please share your thoughts and comments on Keith's interview in the comments section below. Also, ensure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Thanks for watching our videos.